Welcome to the Rugby League Outsiders, the show dedicated to promoting rugby league of all formats and levels outside the traditional heartlands. From tips and tricks for on-field success to interviews with players and coaches and everything in between. Whether you're a seasoned veteran or an absolute newcomer, this show is for you. So grab your headphones, sit back and get ready for this week's episode of the Rugby League Outsiders. Okay, welcome to another episode of the Rugby League Outsiders. My name's Craig.
And my name's Karl.
And this week we've got two great guests from Leamington Royals Rugby League Club. We've got Toby Whelan, who's a winger, but also handles a lot of the social media for Leamington, does a cracking job. We'll be talking about that. And we've also got Pete Gatenby, who's the captain of Leamington Royals. And he's got a little bit of history with Karl. In one of the episodes before, we have spoke about you, so it'd be good to kind of get the insider take on that.
Two grubs on a podcast,
we're going to discuss their journey through rugby league to this point where they're sat on the settee. And in our set of six, we're also going to talk about breaking news stories from around the region and the wider game. Specifically, we're going to talk about international honours for one Midlands-based player, and then some huge wheelchair news north of the border. So we're going to come on to them in a bit. But before we do, it's only right that we kind of get a little bit of intro from you guys. So, Pete, do you want to kick us off? You can talk us like how you got into rugby league and how have you ended up on this settee now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm from West Yorkshire originally, born and raised. So yeah, rugby league in West Yorkshire, as you both know, I guess, is a bit of a way of life if you're in the right parts. So I played rugby league for about 10 or 11. But interestingly, when I was younger, swimming was actually my sport. And I kind of dipped in and out of rugby league through my teens, but I always played through school. And it wasn't really until I got to uni where it really kind of became front and centre in my mind in terms of sports that I was kind of focused on. But funnily enough, I didn't even play rugby league straight away at uni. I think you had a guest on a few weeks ago who had a similar thing in the fact that I'd gone to the Freshers' Fair, I'd met the rugby league captain who scared the shit out of me, and I thought, I don't really want to run around with him because he's a bit scary. Rugby union, I actually went to the rugby union trials even though I'd never played rugby union before in my life, and then sacked that one off because they were going to try and make the freshers eat poo and I didn't want to do that.
Why not? So
yeah, they tried to rationalise it to me as well. I was like, you can't sell this to me. This doesn't make any sense. So I actually played American football. And then it was a couple of weeks in on a social, one of our big lads got in a fight with the rugby league captain, pretty much exactly the same story as your man up in Durham. And I got signed to the standoff and he was like, who are you lot? And I said, oh, well, yeah. And he's like, you sound Northern. Have you played rugby league before? So yeah, I've played rugby league since I was like 10 or 11. So that was it then. I played the next Wednesday against Edge Hill and got my head taken off a few times and the rest is history. So yeah, played that. Then I bounced really between rugby union and rugby league just by geography. Of course, I'd gone out to America, studied abroad. Then I'd been in like down south, Reading way, working. So I actually switched to rugby union for a couple of years. Until my final year when I went back to uni, and the team had completely changed. I got treated like a fresher again, which wasn't fair. And I went back and kind of played rugby league. We smashed the league that year. We had a really, really good team. We had lads playing for England students. We had lads playing for Ireland students, Northwest, and everything else. I then got offered the opportunity by. I got two opportunities actually to go abroad to play rugby league. One was Boston, because we knew via the old boys of the club there was a gent there over there who had an option, and I actually ended up going to New Zealand. So I went and played in New Zealand for a year. In the Fox Prem, and I realised very, very quickly that was probably my peak, because Kiwis and Maoris and Islanders are all very big. So I left there to come back really because I ended up with tickets to Brazil, the World Cup. So I was like, I'm going to go to that. That sounds good. Then ran out of money and came back. Got a job in the Midlands and ended up at the Royals by pure luck because I was living really close to where the new Ravens play, but they didn't start training for like 2 weeks, and I'd been playing union and I was bored, to be honest, and I just really wanted to play rugby league again. So the Royals training had started, so I went to Royals first and foremost. So if Ravens had been kind of started, I'd have been there. And yeah, I've been there ever since. That was 2015 it was. So.
And Pete, one last question.
Yeah.
Which rugby team do you support?
Oh, the Bulls.
Oh, excellent.
There we go.
That's 2-1.
Yeah, fucking is.
Let's move on.
Mind you, I know who Bill Boy is. And Toby, what about you?
You probably should have started with me. My my career is far less illustrious than Pete's. I've been playing union since I was like yay high, all in and around Warwick, Leamington. Had a hell of a lot of injuries when I was growing up at school. Played to a decent level at school. Had 2 lots of shoulder surgery. Pretty much needed full reconstructions. They're both bollocks, to be fair. And then went off to uni. Did 5 years at uni. I had sort of semi-retired from rugby at the age of 18, 19. Having not even touched league. I was always a big rugby league fan. Another Bulls supporter, sorry to say.
3-1.
It's a fucking joke.
I sound like I'm from Bradford, don't I?
Yeah.
No, my dad's from Bradford. So big Bulls fan and Leeds United for my sins. I went to uni up in Leeds, dipped in and out of union a bit up there, again, more injuries. Didn't particularly like the social, to be honest, like Pete was saying. It gets a bit weird when you get to uni rugby, doesn't it? And then came back down here, moved back home, and it was during COVID. Thought, you know what, loads of my mates have moved away. I want to do something that, gets me back out there. Started playing tag rugby. I don't know if either of you have played it, but there's actually a fairly decent sized setup in the Midlands. They play in Leamington and Coventry, and I ended up playing twice a week in Leamington towards the end of COVID and for the year or so after. But the thing with tag is it sort of just gets you back into it, doesn't it? And it's
you get a taste for it.
Yeah, you get the bug again, don't you? And sometimes if you're playing with people who are brand new to it, they're not running the lines you want them to run, and it's oh bloody hell. And then it just so happened that I saw, when was it, 3 years ago, just out of COVID, wasn't it? I saw our illustrious Marcus Pask, Paul Hollywood, posted on one of the local Facebook groups that they were starting up rugby league, and it was just all right, perfect. COVID's ruined all semblance of community sport, so I'll go give it a go. Turned up to the first session, and there were 80 lads there. It was ridiculous.
Really?
Genuinely, yeah.
We had to give everyone
wristbands, yeah.
Because you had little pods of people.
Because you weren't allowed more than 15 in a group or something at the time. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
And we were like, do you reckon we'll get 15, 20? And it was 80.
Yeah, it was at least 80. It was mad. I just haven't really looked back. I've been injured more than I'd care to say playing for the Royals, but
I think you are the current holder of the Man of Glass Award.
No, I lost it last year, but I'm keen to get it back.
I mean, you say that your journey into rugby league isn't as illustrious as Pete, but actually it's probably the most interesting for this podcast because so far we've spoke to loads of Northerners that have just brought the game. It's part of religion. You know what I mean? You come down here and you found a league club. That's not the case for you.
No,
you know what
not
I mean?
really.
You are what we want to replicate, 10, 15 times for every club in the Midlands.
Yeah, and to be fair, I think that Leamington not being a particularly strong, not having particularly strong rugby league heritage.
It's a very middle class place.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
We've got a Rupert and a.
Have you? A Tarquin.
We've got a lot of double barrel surnames.
A lot of tweed. A lot of tweed knocking around.
Yeah, with the farmers anyway. That's for sure.
Here's a mark of how snobby it is. My wife loves Leamington, so it must be fucking snobby.
I mean, it's a lovely place, but it is very middle class.
Yeah. And to be fair, there's a lot of me's in terms of there's a lot of people who've never played the sport before who have either taken it up in the last couple of years or who are now taking it up this year, and we're just sort of keen to all the signings we've made. Pretty much none of them have played rugby league before.
Well, that's great, and that's a testament to how good Leamington as a club is running. It really.
Well, say that in 3 months, hopefully though.
Yeah,
we've done a lot of decent recruitment. Yeah, just need to keep them, man.
Well, I'm really looking forward to hearing what it was that kind of drew you into the sport, and then other people as well. So yeah, looking forward to that. Thanks, lads. Great intro. Okay, we're going to move on to our set of 6. So obviously we do 6 news stories. We try and keep like 4 from around the region, 2 from the wider game. Karl every now and again just throws in a couple of extra ones, but let's get amongst it. And with this, as always, if you've got a point to discuss, a point to make or whatever, just chirp in, because it is a conversation, not just a broadcast. Stirring.
Right, tackle one then. Birmingham Bulldogs have advertised their game against Coventry as the Battle of the West Midlands. They are also charging £6 to go and watch this, which is a first for community rugby in the area. I suppose there's a couple of points we need to touch on here. One is the advertising of the game, which people might have their own opinions what the Battle of the West Midlands is and who that should entail. I'll go to you two guys in a minute about this. So I think that's good, how they're advertising the game and they're really bigging it up, and it's getting a lot of traction on social. And then the second point to discuss is the charging £6 to go watch community rugby. Discuss.
I feel like there's a bus coming here.
What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, we were saying on the way here, I'm pretty sure Leamington's in the West Midlands, isn't it?
I think Telford is as well, isn't it?
Shropshire.
Yeah.
It's a bit murky in it.
Yeah, it's over there.
Yeah.
No, I get what they're doing. They were the 2 sort of premier teams in the league last year, weren't they? I don't necessarily mind that being the big opening day clash, but I think it's
it was the use of the word derby. I think that I was like, well, Coventry and Bears and Royals are
geographically
2
closer.
miles away from each other. We're literally the other side of the dual carriageway. It's not far at all. I mean, that is closer than some of the big rivalries in the north, right? And you're definitely closer to Birmingham than Bears is, surely.
Depends what they're playing.
Yeah.
I suppose for me, it's like, we need to create some waves and make some talking points. You know what I mean? It's like the Lee Leopard shirt, which we talk about every week. You know what I mean? With the red eyes on the nipples, it's just genius. Because we talk about it all the time. So to have a talking point like this is great. And who knows what the Battle of the West Midlands might turn into?
Yeah.
If it does turn into 2 Premier clubs from the season before, playing a season opener. Well, that's quite interesting. That I'm not saying it would, but it could.
You're gonna have to think of a really catchy tagline for our season opener.
I think
versus Oxford.
I think that's what's interesting about it. The kind of raising the bar a little bit, so now everybody else has got to get in the mix and throw something else in there, aren't they, and generate some interest themselves. What do you think about charging £6 though for fans to come and watch a community game?
I think it's a bit of a slippery slope, don't you? I mean, we are trying to grow the game for people who, like myself, who haven't typically played the game before. And I think if you're... how far away from charging £6 to entry is paying players to pay, playing players to play.
And then how much is it for you shipping players in?
Yeah,
from
and there have been rumours
up north or down south, or
there have been some rumours of some clubs suggesting that there might be pay in the offing, and then you effectively just remove a lot of people who would want to play from the game. Like at the union level, the majority of people who play community rugby is level 7 and below, which isn't like the strongest level in the world, but it is the majority, and that is below that level. You're never going to get anyone who's paid. So if you're then introducing players who say they're coming from a union background who play sort of level 5, level 6, and they are getting paid, whether it's 150 quid a week or whatever, people are just not going to turn up, are they? You're not going to get people wanting to roll up against 130 kilos of pure athleticism on a Saturday.
I suppose the point as well is if you rock up to the game, you're playing against Birmingham and you rock up to play an away game and you've got your wife in the car and she's come to watch you, is she expected to pay to watch you?
My physio, actually.
Personal physio,
my personal physio.
Right, yeah. Physio, doctor, water bottle carrier.
Yeah. We only announced 6 of our 45 physios actually.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that story.
Oh yeah, so, yeah.
Great story.
I think they've outdone you actually.
Surely not.
Yeah, no, I think they've got a full physio team as well. So
I think that we're chatting to Birmingham, aren't we? You know,
next week
is it? Yeah, next week. And I'd be really interested to, you know, what are the drivers behind that? You know what I mean? And you know, we've all got pitch costs and you know, and things that we need to pay for, and maybe that's just a way that they've come up to, you know,
it's
to
not
pay for the pitch.
It's not at Kings Norton, so I presume they're renting the grounds. So maybe that's it. It could just be as simple as that.
Yeah, it's just a case of, look, you know, we've got to generate money somewhere, and you know, who knows? But it'd be interesting to see how it pans out. Like,
yeah,
it really will.
All right, we'll move on since we've all skirted around that one. Go ahead.
No, I don't, because you don't want to make it feel awkward for them. You know,
what do you think, Hal? Tell us what you think.
I've never short of an opinion.
I think £6 is a little bit expensive. I don't,
because you're from fucking Bradford.
Well, 3 Bradford fans are there, so you're outnumbered today, big time.
But they're all just as tight.
No,
we are, yeah.
personally, I think I don't see anything.
Well, parking at Hodson was a £5. Do you remember? I don't know what it was to get in. Parking at Hodson was a £5.
Oh, mate, you don't park there. You park towards Whipsett.
Yeah, surely.
It's free then.
Yeah.
You just break into Richard Dunn's and park there. Kids went free.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, you know, that's kind of where we're at with, you know, with that.
I don't think there's, like you say, there might have pitch costs and whatever. I don't think there's anything wrong with charging a couple of quid to help maintain whatever they've got to pay for and things like that. But I just think £6's a bit expensive.
I think the thing is, right, when we had times with Royals before you joined where we were struggling, like financially.
Yeah.
And so we used to run raffles, committed, bring in whatever Christmas presents you want to have anymore.
Yeah.
Links
and
Africa.
and we do all sorts of stuff to try and just get an extra 20 quid in on a weekend. Like, charging people to go watch their other halves play rugby, like, they're just going to find ways around it.
Realistically, because that is who's going to be there.
Yeah, because
you're not going to pull in a massive crowd for the Midlands to go watch Birmingham against Coventry in the nicest possible way.
And because otherwise they're going to go watch Hurricanes play Cornwall out there because that's more interesting. So, and it's not far away.
Yeah, if Bulldogs charge for when we go and play them, I will be personally refunding people who have to watch me play.
I might come.
Can I get refunded for playing with you?
And we want media passes, yeah. All right, tackle 2 then. There was this was actually the week before, because we didn't really have a live show last week. I've thrown this in. There was a great junior festival that took place. Bolsover Bulls. There were teams like Shrewsbury Lions, Bassetlaw Bulldogs, Bolsover and Gould. They had almost 100 kids taking place in like a pre-season festival, which for this time of year is absolutely just it's amazing.
Is it fantastic?
No, amazing this week.
No, is it?
Piss-taking bastard. Tackle 3. Josh Hodson has yet again scored 4 tries for Batley Bulldogs in their win over Hunslet ARL FC, which is different to Hunslet RL FC. Bit confusing. He's absolutely just ripping it up in the championship at the minute. That's the second time we've mentioned him scoring 4 tries. I think it's just.
He's going to get picked up now.
Yeah, Karl and I were saying the same thing. You know, the ideal scenario would if he'd gone to Midlands. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he didn't. He's probably missed that window. I think everybody has a golden season, don't they? And perhaps he's just in that golden season this year. You know, good luck to him.
Well, it's
brilliant.
11 tries in 3 games.
Yeah.
That's outrageous. It's just mental. He's just ripping it up north.
Well, when we chatted, by the way, you know, you can listen to our little Rugby League Outsiders extra with him. We did a little chat with him, and he was saying that everything he tries at the minute is just going right. You know, he got injured, he did a lot of rehab, you know, got ready, and then everything since then has just gone right for him. So fair play and good effort.
Yeah, I hope he gets a Super League contract. I really do, and I hope that we get first dibs on an interview. Tackle 4. Sherwood Wolves Hunts. Aaron Kite represented Jamaica Rugby League at the weekend. Lost 20 points to 16 against Gibraltar, and Aaron he sort of played 65 minutes at prop, so that's just brilliant for Sherwood.
Yeah.
Tackle 5, Midlands Hurricanes bowed out of the Challenge Cup to Bradford Bulls, 66 points to 18. It was a great first half showing. I think it was 24 points to 18 at half time. They really rattled Bradford in the first half. We were there, weren't we?
Yeah, we're talking to Jordan Lilly, and he just said they came out, they punched us on the nose, and it stunned us for the first half. We went in at half time, and their coach was like, "You fucking lot need to pick yourselves up, you know what I mean, and turn this around, and stop playing at their pace." They came out, didn't they? And within seconds, like the Bradford speed and fitness just kicked in, and then they just sliced them up. But that first half was incredible.
Yeah,
incredible to be there and see it.
Yeah, I listened to the first half on the radio, and I was actually a little bit concerned.
Yeah.
What's going on?
It was like 12-6 to Hurricanes after about 35 minutes, wasn't it? And Bulls scored 2 quick tries. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. They scored first. Hurricanes scored first.
Yeah,
it was
they were
a great try.
12-6 up, weren't they?
Yeah.
And we have got a full documentary coming out about it, haven't we, in months' time?
Netflix sponsored?
Yeah, that'd be the dream. Whenever we get round to it. But just quickly on like a couple of little stories that we're going. There was like a lad, Don Flanagan, playing for Hurricanes. Like us, he's a Bradford fan. It was like emotional before the game, like playing on this turf. This team he's supported all his life, and he's going out there and taking them on. And
they very nearly didn't play because it was
banned.
He was banned, and anyway they managed to
get it overturned.
Yeah, I don't know if they overturned it or
no. It was his ban were up on it just in time to play.
Yeah.
But what was really interesting is like before the game he was like quite subdued and a bit nervous. Like half time came and they were like giving the Bulls a game. It was a completely different story when he was going.
Oh yeah.
Well, I won't repeat what he probably says, but along the lines of we've got these, and I'm turning him over, and all the rest of it.
You can't tackle for Toffee and all this lot. He's like Joe Arundel. It's great, it's brilliant. Be part of it.
Tackle 6 then, the first ever Scottish Wheelchair League has been announced. It's going to be the SPL, I think, or SPWL or something like that. 3 clubs are going to be in that, Edinburgh Giants, Dundee Dragons and Glasgow Rugby League.
Not a lot to say about that.
You got nothing to say about that?
Well, other than we interviewed James Simpson and that'll be coming out soon, and the head coach of Edinburgh Giants as well, Martin Gill. Brilliant episode that's going to drop soon.
Okay, onto the extra time tackle. I don't know what I'm going to call it. The 7th tackle, anyway. Double header.
I don't even know the rules.
I can see where you went wrong.
A double header. The first double header in North America took place this week as Cleveland Rugby League took on Toronto Saints, and this is a good name. It's better than the Battle of West Midlands. The Battle of the Great Lakes, it was called. Toronto won that 34 points to 22. And there was also a women's game. Fucking hell.
Sure, that's fucking brilliant. That's Carl's new sign.
Okay, there was also a women's game. Cleveland Outlaws played Ontario Ospreys on the same day as well. So two games, men's and a women's game, took place in North America.
It's weird, like when Toronto was on the telly, you kind of think, this club just turned up from nowhere, didn't you? I mean, obviously, there's like foundation grassroots rugby in Canada, and it's fucking kicking.
Well, no, I think these teams are brand new. I think these have been born out.
Split,
they've been born out of what happened with Toronto Wolfpack. I think.
Did people just have any Canadian players when they played in the Super League?
I don't know.
When they came up through League One and Champs, they did have 1 or 2. One's got Super League.
No, not needed.
No,
Sonny Bill Williams.
Yeah, he'll be whatever you pay him to be.
Yeah. Okay, last bit then. Tweet of the week. This week's tweet of the week goes to Cornwall Rugby League. I don't know if anybody saw this, but it's made me laugh. On April Fool's Day, then they put out a tweet saying the club will visit Parliament with plans for the M62 motorway to be extended into Cornwall. Officials to lobby the government minister and feline expert Keith Lee for support. Clearly a dig at Keith Lee with what's going on with the IMG stuff.
That is quite funny, though, isn't it?
I just thought they absolutely nailed that one, to be honest.
Yeah. Brilliant. Okay, so at this point then, so we've had our 7 tackles and a tweet, new rules for Rugby League. So now we do our little handover. So this is the time when we spend a bit of time and we just chat to you guys and get your idea of Rugby League and learn more about Leamington, what you've got coming up this year, perhaps your history and that kind of stuff. So it's obviously, the obvious place to start is like, a little bit of the history of Leamington. How did the club start, if you know, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, of course. Over to you, Toby. So, Royals started by a gent by the name of Ash Howlett. So, Ash, massive rugby league fan. I think he owns probably every rugby league jersey there ever was. And he wanted to play rugby league. Wasn't really the option close by, and so he just started Leamington Royals Rugby League. I can't remember where they played the first game. I think it's Old Wells, Old Leamingtonians.
They used to play there, didn't they, before Echo? Yeah.
And essentially, he just went around to all of his mates. He was working with a gent by the name of Paul Salvin, when you asked who that was the other week. Who he was working with at HSBC at the time, and someone else. And there was basically they all just rallied the mates around and played the first game. I think Paskey played in that first game as well.
Jesus, it must have been a while ago.
Yeah, definitely.
Is Paskey the
Paul Hollywood?
Paul Hollywood
Yeah, the same, yeah.
chap, yeah.
Our influencer, yeah.
Mate, don't ever leave your missus near him. They all fancy him. Don't they?
Oh, I don't know.
Is he the chairman now or the?
Yeah,
Is Ash still chairman?
Ash is still chairman.
Yeah. He's just paid influencer.
Yeah, just paid influencer. Just paying to record the videos before games.
Morning, Royals fans.
Good morning, Royals fans. Anyway, so that's how it started, and then it's kind of grown from there. When Midlands had 2 leagues, kind of our only piece of silverware has been that lower league. I've played in 3 finals and lost all 3.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. So the Sherwood, when you had the lad from Sherwood, when they won and went on to the Challenge Cup, we turned up that day, and I looked at them and thought, well, we ain't really got a chance here because they were so up for it. They were the best team by a country mile that year.
Right.
Yeah, done that. I was going to say about Leamington, because we've, Telford obviously stood the test of time. Leamington, I mean, we were younger than Telford, much younger than Telford, but we've never kind of had a season where we've dipped out towards the end. We've always grown year on year, really. We've had a couple of years where we've struggled, and we've kind of struggled with players and stuff, but we've always kind of fulfilled the fixtures. We've always kind of we've always even travelled, even to fulfill there.
Well, I always look at Leamington as probably one of the most successful clubs in the Midlands, if I'm being honest with you. And it's not because you don't measure a team on what silverware they've won, do you? You measure the team on turning up every week.
Tell you're a Bradford Bulls fan.
We used to measure it on silverware.
Yeah,
That's gone
not
now,
anymore.
Yeah, so you turn teams out every single week. You've got a full junior setup going. You've got a women's team going. And like I say, there seems to be a real community vibe around Leamington.
Yeah.
From the outside looking in anyway.
Absolutely. And I think the big thing for us is we want to give anyone the opportunity to play. I know we said about, we will never ship players in.
Yeah.
We will never, look, if we ever got to the standard where we had a first team that was flying in the championship, of course we're going to play players because you're going to have to. But our ambition is to always have a pathway to, ideally, I'd love a club in the Midlands that was conference level, because then we could all feed into them, and then they could feed into the Hurricanes. And I'm it's the most logical thing. I'm we're just we're a grassroots club trying to do the best, trying to create a way for people who just want to try the game, which is why we've got 2 teams this year, because you just can't put, we were talking about it beforehand, I'll probably have to give a bit of context because otherwise it won't make any sense.
Yeah.
But we were talking beforehand about how we got 2 teams this year, and that's really because we want the first team to be competitive. They are competitive. There's no one, you guys know this league, everyone in that Premier League can beat anyone on their day. There's talent in all the teams, but it's hard because the hits are big. The hits are getting bigger. In the last couple of years, they got bigger. And so you can't put new players who've never played rugby league and they've only played rugby union into that kind of environment because it's too hard. You'll scare them away. And so what we wanted to do was create a way that we could have a second team, probably not playing on the same weeks. We might have the odd week where we got them on the same week. But more often than not, on the weeks when the first team haven't got a game, you've got a second team out. So the second team can get used to the game, used to running 10 metres back every time, used to obviously having a 10-metre run up when they're about to get hit by someone, and get used to like just the speed of it, because it's different to rugby union. All our players, I think, apart from me, started playing rugby union.
You get used to 7 tackles.
Yeah, 7 tackles. Play Karl's rules, yeah. That's really confusing if you did that. But yeah, so that's kind of the vision, is just create a pathway.
So is that like, you know, we'll never cancel a game? Is that part of your culture? Like, do you talk about, do people know this? It's their identity as a Leamington Royals player.
It was in years gone by. I don't think it is these days.
No.
Because we don't need to. But there was times in years gone by where it was like, no.
We just don't do it.
We just don't do it.
Yeah.
And I think within like the committee, there is still that mentality a little bit, which is like, look, we're here to grow the sport. We know we're outside the heartlands. We're in an area which is, obviously, rugby league's a working class game, right? We all know that. We're in a very middle class area, and we talk about hummus and avocado and warming up. That's what kind of club it is. And like, I don't. That's not like. And I tell you that because Andy Morrison. You probably remember Andy Morrison playing against Andy Morris. He was on Moz. He's from the northwest. He's near Liverpool, and he used to laugh because one week someone said something about hummus. And he never had hummus in his life. We were halfway through the game. In fact, we were playing against Telford. I remember because I remember the game afterwards, and because Denz was there, and we had to send one of the lads to go get some hummus so he could have some, because he'd never had it before in his life, and it just blew his mind. And yeah.
I bet you've had hummus, haven't you?
I fucking hate hummus.
I've never had it.
That tells a story.
I've never had it.
That tells a story. That.
Fuck me.
The crudités. Yeah, I've tried. I'm not big on all that kind of stuff. But yeah, curry in Bradford. That's what I'm more happy with.
Ooh, you've got our rabbit hole here.
Yeah, we could come with. There's a whole 12 episodes.
You been in the Kashmir?
Oh, I love
the Kashmir. We were talking about the Kashmir.
the Kashmir the other day. We were
talking about the Kashmir. Yeah.
Anybody in Midlands listen to this, I'm going to fucking
They're like that. 7 tackles, fucking Kashmir. What are you talking about?
But I've got to give the Kashmir a shout out. It's the best curry in Bradford.
Yeah.
It's a shithole of a curry house, but it's absolutely the best curry in Bradford.
Great place to go.
Do you remember when Bradford played Liverpool in the pre-season for the M&D? For I can't remember which one it was. Derby Rimmer Foundation.
No.
So, but it was the same day that England won the Cricket World Cup.
Right.
So started watching the game in, I can't remember which bar it was, outside Valley Parade. My missus is there, don't like cricket, don't like football. So started watching cricket, went to watch Bradford play Liverpool. Bradford gets absolutely spanked. Then takes her into Bradford. I was like, I'm going to take her for a curry. And she's like, oh great. Oh yeah. I'd never been for a curry in Bradford before. She's thinking the home of curry, not Birmingham, for anyone from Birmingham listening.
She's expecting the big palace.
She was
massive.
We drew past the really fancy ones. Took to the Kashmir where she had to ask for a knife and fork and a napkin. And then we watched the rest of the cricket in there.
Guys like, take your shoes off when you come in here, you'll get them filthy.
Yeah. I'll take you to the Kashmir one day, mate.
Yeah, it's quality.
We're open for sponsorship, aren't we?
Imagine that, curry instead of biscuits. So this year then, what are your expectations for this year? I know you're mixed company and all that, but realistically as a club, where you aiming?
Do you know what? We always start slow, don't we? Yeah. And last year we sort of built towards the end, and I like to think that we took the wind out of Coventry Bears' sails in the semi-final.
That semi-final was honestly such a good game. We'd already played them 3 times that season. I lost all 3. We did end up losing the 4th, but that semi-final was a 6-point game, was it in the end? 30-24 or something, and we should have won at one stage. We lost 2 players to head knocks. That day it was 30 degrees.
It was worse than that. It was about 36.
Yeah, ground was rock solid. I don't know how the game didn't get called off.
Yeah.
But yeah, we put in some show in, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. It was tough, wasn't it?
What was the score in that game?
Yeah, I think it was 30-24.
Something
we lost
like
by a try.
It was a try of 8 points or something.
It was one of them games where like
it was like a 12-point score and it could have gone either way, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
it was like one of those games where like even though they'd won the semi-final to go to the final, like everyone just sat on the floor. Like just both teams just sat on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aside from one guy on the bench who I don't think had played. He just came running on going, yeah. Just one guy. But yeah, everyone else just sat on the floor. But anyway, ambition. I think we want to go one better, kind of get to that final. Like, I think it's part of me like feels like we want to win one. Like we need to win one because I feel like we've been around we've been to the finals now, and I think for me personally, I want to win one. Ash, the chairman, just really wants Royals to play one game in the Challenge Cup. Like, you played Challenge Cup, haven't you?
No. That's what I'm saying the other week. That's one of my big sort of things I wish I'd had the chance to do.
Yeah, and look, I'm all for setting like big goals and that. I think we should, but the first job is win the league.
Yeah.
And anyone could win this league this year because everyone's recruiting well. Bulldogs are always good. You guys are always good. Oxford recruited really well.
Yeah, they're playing out of Oxford this year.
Yeah,
back at Oxford, yeah.
Bows.
And Bears naturally are strong. So I think it could go any which way.
I think the standard in the Midlands Prem is going to be really high this year.
I think it'll be highest it's ever been.
Me. And I think it's the fact that there isn't a load of teams. There's just the sort of top teams in there.
Yeah.
They've all been around for a long time now, and they all know what the crack is. And I
even think Ravens will have a good season in the Merit League. They could probably have done one better and come up to our league, because I suspect they'll get a load of Birmingham Solihull players going and play for them because they play at the same place.
Yeah.
And I play for Harbury. You won't know, you don't know Union, but
Big shout out.
Yeah, big shout out.
Harbury massive.
You're welcome, lads. And
they all wear pink jumpers.
I only wore pink and blue because I didn't get the chance to get changed after work, and I thought Royals colours might as well.
Yeah,
where was I? Yeah, but I suspect Ravens will have a quite good season if they recruit well from their Union counterparts. And I think you were saying about culturally, I think that's one thing from my point of view is not only to go on better, either win the final or get to the final or whatever. I think we want to actually have a good season where we have X number of players play for us and make sure that we do fulfil all of our 1s and 2s games.
Yeah,
maybe we should do heritage numbers or something.
Maybe.
I've thought of that before, but then sometimes I look at how many players played for Telford in one season. There's 60, 70 players, but you still can't get a team together in last.
Yeah, we've got 70 odd lads in our group chat, and I know we'll be scrambling around at least one weekend. Won't we?
Yeah, there's always one in there.
But yeah, I think that's the thing. There's such a good rugby heritage within rugby union heritage anyway, in and around the Royals. There's 2 clubs in Leamington, 2 union clubs in Leamington alone, both of which are playing level 6, I think, 6 or 7, which is a decent standard, very decent standard. And we're trying to get more into them to get some players, aren't we? Because
we just need to go out that pizza cup.
Yeah. I think the union season finishing effectively now will help league.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to have any rugby between now and September, effectively, unless you're any good at 7s. But
and what's the clubs over there like? I mean, I think everyone's had a bit of friction from union clubs in the past. Perhaps you got a dinosaur on the committee or something like that.
I think they've actually been pretty open. We've sort of tried to go to players more than clubs, haven't we? So there's people. It's the Midlands is a pretty close-knit place in terms of rugby. Everybody who plays rugby tends to know at least someone in another club.
Yeah.
And it is just almost bridging the gap between the clubs that play at the lower levels and trying to get some talent in just to fill positions.
Yeah. And I think when we did a post a couple of weeks ago where we had all the union clubs that we
17 clubs or something.
Yeah. And actually once we technically worked out how to do it, we tagged quite a few of them, and a bunch of them resharing and Stratford,
following us back and stuff. Yeah.
What level's Stratford?
One below mid-prem, is it?
I don't know.
Mid-prem.
I don't know.
It's level 5.
Yeah, so it's good standard.
Yeah. Really good standard. Yeah.
But their junior section are super keen on our junior section because they just want to keep everyone interested and fit. Yeah. And that's what we're saying. We're just trying to expand the reach and just create good foundations.
Just chirp in, mate, if you've got questions, but if not, I'll carry on.
What have you got?
Are you just playing hard together? Are you two flirting?
Every week.
I was just enjoying listening to
He's scared of you since you scrap, isn't he?
We're at a scrap.
We can't wait to show this video.
That's my next question. Pete, how did you get the name of within your local club as the Grub Gatenby?
Well, I think it's a relatively new thing.
So, and who came up with it?
Me. I'm just a little bit creative with some of those posts.
I just happen to be his
target
that
day. Yeah.
But I think, look, when rugby union players come to play rugby league, there's a side of the game that they naturally don't get. So the physicality people can learn, but there's Like it's stuff like laying on the tackle.
Yeah,
the
dark arts, as
Yeah.
we call it.
and
us Bradfordians are definitely the best at it.
Holding the collar and all of that.
yeah, well that's it, innit? Like you've grown up knowing and having it done to you. I mean, gone are the days where you used to just get poked in the eye and stuff. They've gone.
Yeah.
But there
That's
are.
playing you, yeah.
I'd never put something in the
Not
eye.
in the eye.
I might
other
official get
places,
more in the bum, yeah. but I think the week before you announced me, I'd played against Harbury for Shottery, hadn't I?
Oh, yeah, we both played that game, yeah.
Yeah, we both played for a club called Shottery, which is sort of Stratford way. And I think I got called a grub on numerous occasions by different members of the other team, who was Harbury.
Yeah, he does technically play for Harbury as well, technically. We were just helping the other team out.
Right, okay.
Technically, it's a bit strong, yeah.
Yeah, it's all right.
Just, I mean, we talked about like Leamington being quite a middle class region in the UK, and it definitely is. What other challenges do you kind of experience being a league club there in Leamington?
I think it is just people actually having any knowledge of the game.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about, we were doing,
It's having to teach everyone to play the ball.
yeah, literally, yeah.
When
people just
you're a
rolling
hooker,
through the legs and
it's
stuff.
really frustrating when they don't play the ball properly. Or they
Yeah.
just walk
Yeah.
forward and you're like, oh,
Chicken-
Yeah,
chicken-
so we had our
chicken
first,
scratch
yeah,
or whatever
that's what we have to call it, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
So we
yeah.
had our first training session on Wednesday, and you had 3 or 4 people actually present the ball like in Union during like a game, and it was
Yeah,
like,
like
God,
the-
no, stand up, put it between your legs.
yeah.
But yeah, I think it is just like it's not got the best viewership in the world on Sky, has it? People don't tend to watch it. I think if people are going to watch a game, they'd watch the Union on BT or something.
It just needs to be more on Channel
Round
4,
it,
won't it?
yeah. Free to view would help, I think. But I think that's like why we've gone so big on the social media this year. And you guys were saying last week, I think it was last week or the week before, I can't remember, about like when you were younger, you used to cut out your name in the paper or a photo of you in the paper or whatever. And I think that's what we've tried to do with like the player profiles, because people intrinsically like seeing themselves on social media, don't they? And like retagging it, and then all their mates see it, and like
Well, one of the things I've always said since we've been doing this is Leamington have always had the best social media. I genuinely think. Yeah, have you been in control of it?
only for this season. So Pete, you were doing it. You've been doing it the last couple of seasons, haven't you?
Yeah, a bit haphazardly.
Yeah.
No,
I draw the pictures.
I won't put it down. I think I genuinely think like when Fred came to us this year and said we need to start doing more stuff with the Raiders social media. The first thing he said was look at Leamington's, and that is because you've always been so good at it.
Yeah. We sat down December time, didn't we, and said right, let's set out a plan of what we wanted to do, and it has to date. It has worked. Like we had nearly 30 lads at training on Wednesday in a pissing rain. Hardly rugby league, by the way, playing on pretty much clay as well, weren't we?
And not one of them wore a vest. What's that about?
I did.
But you under your hoodie, that doesn't count.
So what has for other clubs watching this, and they're just Lincolnshire Lions, for example, was chatting to them, and they're just getting started, and like we've got a bit of a plan, we just haven't done it, and all this. What has worked, and what can work for those other clubs?
Hume has definitely worked. I think the funnier people find the post, the more they share it.
Yeah.
So, for instance, Pete getting sent back into space did really well. The numbers on that were actually incredible, to be honest. And taking the piss out of some of our stalwarts like Whitey and Gilksy. So we've had Con Slater as well. So we've had a bit of a back and forth with some of the Bears social media guys on social media.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you something right now here. What's your my opinion of rugby league at the minute is everyone's afraid to say anything. Whenever there's a coach's interview on, that they don't want to say anything controversial. The media teams just say thank you for this team turning up. What do you think about actually bigging games up as like proper rivalries, like they do in the boxing? In the boxing, it's not real. I was listening to Eddie Hearn this week, and he was going on about David A. He said was in a press conference for the boxing. He was like said a load of shit about Eddie Hearn and threw tables over and all the rest of it, and that Eddie Hearn thought he was like really having a go at him. And then 5 minutes later, he rang him up. He went, "How good was that?" Look and look at, and then on the back of that, the pay-per-view went through the roof.
Yeah, a bit of showmanship.
Do you think we should be almost creating like these rivalries online?
I don't really see why not. It's all like tongue in cheek.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, I think from our side, it is definitely tongue in cheek.
Yeah, I think we had someone reply.
Someone replied in
to one of our.
But that's prominent
posts
right? Online. There's always someone with that sense of humour.
Didn't quite get the gist of what we were going for.
Then that comment disappeared, didn't it?
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened there. I think he rethought it and they called lighted it.
I think it's tough because as a middle-aged white heterosexual male, I feel like...
Where's this going?
Anybody want to go to Karachi for a meal? No. I feel like there's a load of traps. It's just, like I'm never like free reign on social media because I'm like, you know, some freaking vegan is going to have it in for me or something, you know. And I think that's just...
This could be the last ever podcast.
Might not make the cut.
Yeah, they're definitely not going to make the cut.
I don't think we have many vegan subscribers.
No, we don't. Hello. No, stop.
Not now.
Right, stop. So, and this is what I'm saying. So that I think people naturally like hold back because you just don't know who you're going to freaking trigger. And then the other thing as well is like, you know, there's coaches out there like Ian Watson. A couple of seasons back, he sort of laid into the RFL a bit and then got fined for it, or the referees or something like that. So the hands are tied, and I think they just play the party line because, you know,
They're
kind of tied a little bit.
Boring, isn't it?
Oh, it's boring.
It's not
It's
right.
fucking boring.
It's boring.
Yeah.
Like we've been talking about Birmingham and Cov, and the reason being is because there's a bit of spite in there now, and it might not be real.
Yeah.
But, you know, Birmingham have come out and said, right, we're charging £6 for this game. Cov have come back online and gone, all our games are going to be free for the community game. And so all of a sudden, we're talking about it.
Well, Raiders are going to pay people to turn up and watch.
Just reimburse them.
But don't you think it's a decent way of generating a little bit of interest?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's possibly not the best example, but look at what the football admins have done on Twitter and stuff. Like you see all the big football accounts that are effectively just taking the piss out of one another and.
I mean, Paddy
like
Power. Just look at Paddy Power, right?
Yeah, and it does build traction.
Yeah, it does work, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So like Leamington v Telford this year could be the battle of Karl and Pete. And you can play that video online.
Can he plant another one on my nose?
the Grub Cup. the Grub Shield.
Yeah, exactly.
Battle of the Undergrowth, yeah.
I suppose it's a tough one, isn't it? Because I agree what you're saying. You know, something needs to be spiced up. But I just think like someone's always going to take it that little bit too far, aren't they? You know what I mean?
Well, it'll probably be me.
Yeah.
Where like, you know, you turn up for a game and then Leamington have broke into your shipping container and cut all your strip up. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? It'll always go too far, wouldn't it? But
as long as you're not on the receiving end of it, it's all right.
I think we'll stir the pot a bit this year and just see what happens.
Well, I think to get back to your question, we should have more rivalries. We should also be able to laugh at ourselves, but I worry there might be personalities that might not take it as well.
Yeah, we just need to line
We've just
up
got to
a
work
bit.
out who it is by poking them all and see.
Yeah, who bites back.
Yeah.
Okay, so just looping back, we spoke a little bit about like player acquisition and kind of where you're attracting them from and how you're doing it. What's working well for picking up new players and encourage them to come along to training?
I'm being incredibly persistent with people.
Is that what it is? Just like follow up, you know, just keep chasing people?
Yeah, so a lot of it is, it started effectively just from bringing down mates from my rugby club and then like they're bringing down mates from other rugby clubs and it is almost a snowball. I think we do need to try to get into some of the other clubs just so we're not so reliant on like a couple, like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Which we are sort of doing now, aren't we?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the just persistence and speaking to people speaking to players on a player level as opposed to going through the actual clubs because mates talk to mates more than mates talk to their committees, don't they?
And then once they're in, I think it's about retention, right?
Yeah.
So you make it. I mean, look, rugby league. In like my life has been the centre of all my mates. In truth, whether it's been uni, whether it's been like Royals, like the people who, when I got married, were at my wedding, were all rugby league mates, aside from my family, but they had to be there, didn't they? Because you know, they birthed me. So, but that's it. So it's all about when they come, welcoming them, but then equally giving them a platform to play and stuff. And we go back to the whole second team thing. And it's not second team, it's just an
development
entry point.
squad, yeah.
Yeah, but that's patronising, isn't it? It's just call them Team Aqua or something, I don't know. Like. But yeah, but it...
Team Vegan.
Yeah. Like Forest Green Rovers. Anyway, League Two banter, yay.
But yeah, I think the social is massive for us. We always try and have a really good social after the game, and our social committee did somewhat let us down last year, but this year we've set a couple of mulleted chaps to it.
Mulleted chaps.
Yeah.
I think
how many mullets you got in the team?
Oh, quite a few. We had a mullet of the year contest last year.
Yeah.
We had 7 in one squad.
Oh, that's proper rugby league now, isn't it?
That's strong because
That's on trend,
mullets
that is.
weren't in the UK. Like mullets weren't.
We don't have any sleeves though. We don't have enough sleeves.
It's all,
That's what we're missing.
it's all ironic schoolboy.
It's because you're middle
mullets,
class,
though,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Are the sleeves in Leamington?
Not from people from Leamington.
Not from Rupert.
Pasky's got one. Pasky's got one, hasn't he? Yeah. But he's a very artistic one. There you go. That's, middle class.
Yeah, really creative.
Artistic.
So yeah, we're just going to try and like build on the social this year, aren't we?
And get more sleeves. On the social.
Yeah, maybe not.
So
I reckon Winchy'd do it.
Probably.
Yeah.
when you say socials, I mean,
Big piss up.
you're encouraging people to stay behind, and you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've seen it on the social. We've been selling it as like a beer on the terrace after training and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we have a couple of pints after.
Oh, so you're doing after training as well as the games, like that.
It's like the clubhouse down at Leamington's really nice. And what if the sun's not going down till like 9:30 or whatever? It's all right, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's always been in like the Royals DNA. Like even when we were at the, did you ever play at the Bulls Club? Do you remember the Bulls Club?
Can't remember.
I played you at different grounds. I can't remember where
Well,
they
if
are.
you'd played between 2015 and 2019, it'd have been at the Bulls Club.
Right.
And but afterwards, we used to play balls with the old men, and it was great.
That's something different.
Beer on the terrace.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's definitely been things like with the Raiders. We had this club at a school, and we haven't had a bar.
Yeah.
And we've struggled to kind of keep all the players afterwards. It's changed this year, and I'm quite excited for it. I mean, there's a bit of like red tape and all that to get through, isn't there, really, without going into it too much.
Yeah,
but we really want it to be like that culture where you stop and have a pint, and you know what I mean, and your family wants to stop and have a pint, and even like we'll do a raffle.
Yeah.
But we'll draw it an hour, so so let everybody have a couple of pints first and keep them hanging around a little bit longer. So
I think that's the best thing about summer rugby league, really, isn't it? Getting people, out in sunshine, having a few drinks together. It's what it's all about, really.
Yeah, I think that's what the wives and girlfriends are looking forward to, anyway, as opposed to
we
the
have a full Wags outfit, don't we?
pretty much, as opposed to the -3 sleeting in October.
But the thing is, you can keep the wags. If you keep the wags happy,
you can keep playing, exactly.
They'll be like, well, you need to go to rugby because it's the only chance I get to have a beer with my mates as well.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah,
I think that is one of the things we've actually built a squad of mates, really, haven't we? We've built a load of people who get on really well, who hang out with each other outside of rugby, and there might be like different groups of people within the squad or whatever, different people who come from different union clubs and whatever, but everyone does actually get on, which I think is the point, isn't it? It's all about, we are at the end of the day community rugby. It's the way I look at it from a union point of view and a league point of view.
Don't really have any assholes, do we?
No, not at all.
Unless it's us.
Yeah,
that's what they say, isn't it? If you're looking round and you're like, those no arseholes, you're the arsehole.
And how's the women's team shaping up this year? Because we've got the first women's Midlands League this year, haven't we? I know your sort of women's team started. Was it last year?
Last year was their first season. Yeah.
How many games did they play? 3 or 4?
Yeah, 3 or 4, and
in cohesion with various other teams, Oxford and Nottingham and whatever else. But
I think I'm really excited about the women's team because I think there's a lot of potential, but equally it's harder because like women don't naturally like. We've all probably played sport growing up, and like my missus said to me, she went as girls, we just didn't play a lot of sport. We might have played a bit of netball, a bit of hockey
and netball, it's different to rugby, isn't it?
And she went, but you just weren't really bred into you, and so I think they're not seeing that, but I think it's harder for them to find players.
I think they're picking quite a few up from tag rugby again.
Yeah, doing a lot.
Yeah.
And they all come down to try contact, then love it.
Yeah.
They all go, I don't think I like contact, then they hit someone, and then they that's great. Then.
Yeah. But there are there's quite a few good union teams around the Midlands. So
Yeah, she's got
OLs and Kenilworth. Kenilworth play in the Championship. Yeah, they played Leicester Tigers a couple of weeks ago.
All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just trying to get into those clubs. I think they've got a few girls who've come down off the back of it. But Cliffy said to me, Cliffy's the head coach of the ladies. He used to play for the men's, but he has since retired. Although I'm sure we'll get him out for a game this year. Mm-hmm. He was saying to me last week before, that he's pretty sure that we'll be able to put out a squad of 13 on our own.
Oh, right, yeah.
And that's it, right? I think if they get to that point, then they'll do all right. I think.
And
it's a snowball, isn't
there
it?
should be hopefully regular games this year as well, because there's like 4 teams, isn't there?
Yeah, and I don't know if it's been officially announced yet.
Oh.
I don't know. Do you know?
Yeah, it's in the pipeline. Isn't it? Let's just say it's in the pipeline.
It's not been officially released, so we won't drop that one.
No, but there is going to be some form of Midlands Women's League, isn't there, this year?
Well, you just tell them, yeah.
Yeah, there is. Anyone who's watching this, there is.
Brilliant. Okay, just thinking about the club, is there anybody that that you think should get an honourable mention, or someone who deserves a bit of recognition for either admin, playing, they've been around for years or whatever?
Definitely not Pete. So I think Paskey probably deserves one, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think
he does drive. He drives a lot of it behind the scenes. He's the
conductor, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the most seen, unseen man. I think is probably the best way to describe him.
Yeah, and look, when I first joined Royals, he wasn't around. He was being a dad, I think. He'd stopped playing, and he knew if he was around, I think he thought he was going to carry on playing, and his body was saying no, so he went to be a dad for a bit. And then his kids grew up, and he's like, I can come back now, and it's fine. But he is a big driver in terms of, the juniors, he's got off the floor, off the ground, really, and that's, I want to say his baby. The ladies being Cliffy's baby. So Cliffy as well, he can have a mention.
Yeah. And then I
was say
the rest of the committee probably deserve a shout out, don't they? Steve.
Well, yeah, and look, Stevie, Ash, like just stalwarts of the club. Ash will never not love rugby league. Again, he's got a young family now, so his time he can commit is much less. But
he's said he's coming back to play second team rugby this year, though.
He also said if we got to the Challenge Cup final, he was going to pull his boots on. I went, I'm not sure. I'm not sure you're going to make the team, mate. Sorry, but yeah, and I think that and then we've got coaches coming out the woodwork now. That's the other thing.
Oh, yeah, Biggsy said I had to mention him.
Biggsy?
Yeah.
Was he? He didn't know what play the ball was last week.
Perfect.
Yeah, we've got it so we had Dan Barber a couple of years ago, didn't we? Since he's left.
We could congratulate him, couldn't we?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so Biggsy's one of my best mates. He's my coach at Union as well, Josh Biggs.
Right.
And he's away with his
missus.
He's
not coming to train on Wednesday.
No, this weekend and this week. And by the time this is released, he should have proposed. So.
All right.
Okay.
So amazing.
It's going out live, or they said.
So yeah. So congratulations.
Yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. Future, Mr. Biggs. No.
Biggs, yeah. Mr. and Mrs. Biggs. Yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. Biggs.
I hope you're not saying no now.
Well, yeah, I'll be. We'll text you early Thursday. Don't let go.
Plan B. Right, before we get into this week's predictions and all that kind of stuff, obviously there's a little bit of business to clear up
We've
first.
got to address the elephant in the room.
The big elephant in the room. One of the reasons why I was excited about recording this episode, not only to hear about Leamington Royals, but to hear about quite a famous little incident that happened last season. So we're going, for those that haven't seen it, we're going to play the clip here. Okay, so we've watched the clip. Just kind of talk us through what happened there, and
Well, from what I see,
who's the judge here?
I think it's all the playful niggle we were talking about. It's that little bit of spite between
the camera
teams.
definitely zoomed out at the right time. I'll say that.
Yeah, definitely covered up a little bit of something. But
Yeah, but I mean, from my side, all I remember was innocently getting up to stand-up marker. The ball being played. And then suddenly...
I innocently got up and just brushed head within slightly...
three times.
Yeah.
Which resulted in a little leg swipe. and then Aaron comes in with a clear out, doesn't he?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to get hit by Aaron. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And all while this was happening, the referee said, "Oh, fuck all."
The best bit was afterwards. He goes, he sort of like called us together. He called me and you together, and then he looked around and went, "Oh, could I have the two captains as well?" We both looked at him. And he just seemed to go, "Oh, fuck's sake."
Yeah, we don't go from here.
But yeah, Karl did chase me around for a solid 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, trying to get it on
The
back.
best bit in there was just where I'm just fucking chatting shit for the next 5
Oh, he did. He was shouting at me the entire
yeah.
time. So I didn't carry the ball in at that point. I just thought I'd let someone else do it.
So I think we came off about even.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and this is what the game's about, isn't it? You know, those people that haven't seen rugby league, it is a collision sport, you know, where you're going to go at each other. Sometimes you're going to get it wrong. Sometimes you're going to take it too far. But, you know, the important thing is we can sit here afterwards and having a laugh and a joking about it, you know, and that's what it's about.
You know what,
Who knew that Leamington v Telford were going to be the Battle of Bradford back there? Who's got bragging rights?
It's the real battle of the Midlands, that one, isn't it?
Yeah.
To be continued this season.
I thought you were retiring and coming back for that.
Well, I might get my boots back on.
You can't keep a good grub down.
Yeah, that's it. And I saw him on the away fixture, and he was so angry on the sideline because he wasn't playing as well.
Fritz.
About halfway through the game, I noticed, "What's up with you?" And he just glared at me with his two broken arms.
On both hands. Yeah, I think that was game I was pacing up and down on sideline. I said, "I'll help you with coaching today, Fred." And about 5 minutes in, he went, "It's difficult coaching, isn't it?" Fucking is, yeah.
Anyway,
Brilliant. Okay, well, I mean, great clip and great to have a laugh about it now. Right, so let's get into our weekly predictions.
Craig, last time we were level again.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, we got 5 each. We did quite well.
Oh, so but I'm still 2 behind overall.
Yeah, and Adam Bates had a shocker.
I did.
He got 2.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, so you've only got to get 3 this week, and you.
yeah, we have got the hardest week, haven't we?
Yeah, it's a tough week, isn't it?
Derby weekend,
Yeah,
yeah.
Derby weekend. Jesus.
Yeah, I'm surprised Bulldogs and Bears aren't playing this weekend.
Brilliant. But the thing is, Bulldogs are on next week, so they can follow all this up, can't they?
Oh, yeah.
Think about that. And another thing.
We get to leave a question for him as well.
Yeah.
Can you explain the rationale behind the £6 entry fee, please?
Just going to go with the fucking Leamington.
I hope you cut all this out.
That's definitely staying. Right, first game, Thursday night fixture is the 2 bottom of the table sides, Castleford and Wakefield, both shocking this season.
But one more shocking than other.
Yeah, Wakefield are really, 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 really bad at than it's scoring in last weekend. Pete, I'll go to you first. Cass or Wake? It's at Cass.
It's Cass, mate. We neither are good, but Wakefield are particularly terrible this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go with Cass as well. They put a decent performance in last time out, even though they lost. So
I'm going to say... Oh, do you know, I want Wakefield to win.
They can't even score a try.
Who does
They
this to
can't
me?
even score.
Listen, don't question me. We got same points last week. I want them to win, but I can't see them winning, is what I'm saying.
No, I'm rooting for Wakefield, but
Huh?
I'm picking Cass. Definitely. Right.
Hurts my head.
I want to throw this in because this is a rivals round. Which is the biggest derby in Super League, in your opinion?
Super League.
Bulls Rhinos, isn't it? But
Well, it was, yeah.
Yeah, I think it always was, wasn't it? But
Yeah, in the absence of Bulls, Rhinos, you've got to say Wigan Saints.
yeah,
haven't you?
100%. Yeah.
that and then Hull probably in it.
But everybody from Hull says the Hull derby's the biggest because it's an intercity derby.
But
I
there
think it depends where you're from, doesn't it?
Yeah,
if you're from Wigan, you say it's Wigan. If you're from Bradford, you say it's Leeds Bradford. If you say from Hull, you say it's bloody Hull. Yeah.
No.
And
I don't
Catalan Toulouse last year got pretty tasty.
Yeah.
But then Toulouse didn't turn up for any other game, did they? So?
Yeah. The thing is, the Hull derby but it's no disrespect, but it's Hull, isn't it? Whereas you got Saints. It's full of vegans, Hull. Anyway, it's Saints.
Yeah, Marcus Pascoe's a big Hull fan as well.
Massive Hull fan, yeah.
Right, it's
Should have
Saints,
had
right? World Club champions, yeah. And Wigan, massive pedigree. There was a period where nobody got a fucking look in with Wigan. You know what I mean? And I think that's what makes it the biggest derby, in my opinion.
That's probably the Wigan one, Wigan Saints. But they only turn out for that game now. I don't know if you've been watching any Wigan games. Yeah, it's a bloody empty stadium. DW is these days.
Good. It's not good, is it?
I know it's a big ground, but
They used to fill it out every week, though, didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. So there'll be 22,000 there. I think they've sold for Wigan Saints derby. So it's heading for a sellout. Right, Hull FC v Hull KR. Then this is the Good Friday game, the early kickoff, 12:30 kickoff. Which way around we're going?
I'll go with KR.
Hull KR.
Yeah.
Reasoning.
I think they've just been better this year than FC, haven't they?
Yeah, I think so.
I'll go with form.
Yeah, KR. It's at FC, isn't it, I think?
Yeah, it's at FC. Yeah.
Yeah, I think KR are. Well, they're going well. They never. I like KR because I think they should always do better than they do, and I think they do well against Hull, and I think they've done well this season.
I don't know what the record is in the Hull derby between these two, but certainly Hull KR last few years have seemed to come out on top, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying Hull KR, clean sweep for them, I think. If you're...
Yeah, Hull KR for me. I think Tony Smith's got his work cut out getting Hull FC firing at the minute. They're not doing very well. So then on to the biggest derby of the weekend, Wigan v Saints at Wigan. 22,000 tickets already sold. You could go this time, Craig. I'll let you go first.
Why?
I don't know.
Because he doesn't know what he's going to say. That's
I'm
why.
just copying everyone else. I'm
mix
going with
it
the
up.
majority. Saints. I'm going to say narrow win for Saints.
But who do you want to win?
Neither. There's not even an alcohol involved in this podcast, is there?
No, go on then, Peter. Who you got?
I think I'm going to go Saints. I think they've got to come good at some point. That hangover's got to drop at some point on it. And they looked unplayable when they were back in last season, and then obviously against Penrith.
Yeah, just a weird start to the season.
And then they've just don't know, just dropped off on there.
Yeah, they're getting better though, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. So I think they'll be up for it because they always are, aren't they? Big game.
I think we're going to without Jai Field as well, aren't they? I know he's a one player, but
oh yeah, but that's but
he's a big player.
he's a huge player.
Yeah, him and Bevan French are literally the Wigan team. Aren't they? It's a bunch of shit houses and two really good players.
Fucking who's been it? What's that about?
That's always my opinion of Wigan.
All right,
you know,
okay.
I can't believe you didn't ask him what team that's like in the Midlands. You were saying you wanted it fruity. You're not going to answer that?
No.
Could be any one of them.
Yeah, I'll go with Saints as well. It's going to be boring, this, isn't it? We're all going to pick the same teams.
Yeah.
Well, it ain't because I'm going to go with Wigan.
Well, all the shit houses.
Yeah, I think
Two good players. And
I think I think on Good Friday that what gets you.
Oh, they're all religious, are they?
Wigan. No, but on Good Friday, it's always a more rough and tumble game.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Wigan have got more shit houses than Saints. So therefore, I think Wigan are going to win.
Yeah, I can see.
you can't argue with logic, can
Yeah,
you?
you're right, though. I
great
mean,
logic.
you know, if they can.
It's always a proper fiery encounter, that one is.
Yeah, 100%.
Right, Saturday. The Leopards v the Red Devils. Definitely not one of the biggest derbies in Super League, but it's going ahead. So I'll go first on this one.
Like they're just going to call it off because it's not a real derby.
Just a bit shit, this one. But now I'm going to go for Lee. I don't know why. I just like what Lee are doing at the minute.
Yeah.
Even though we've been taking piss out of them all series. Yeah.
We've not been taking the piss out of them. We've
No,
actually shown them quite a lot of respect. It's, you know, and actually we joke, but
No, they're smashing it.
yeah, they're smashing it.
Yeah, the crowds are absolutely amazing, and you know, the shirt's terrible, but other than that,
What do you think the cheerleaders think when they're dressed up as leopards? Like, that's right. You know what I mean? They've got these.
What do you think?
I love it. As a heterosexual, middle-aged, non-hummus eating.
Yeah, but I do think like I go back to like 90s, early 2000s when you used to go down also. And it was all glitz and glamour, wasn't it?
Oh,
you had
yeah,
fireworks,
incredible.
you
Yeah,
had remote control
incredible.
cars, you had dancers, you had 20, 30,000 people there every Friday night.
Yeah, the Friday night game.
Yeah,
Extravaganza.
exactly. And it was just,
Absolutely,
it was just...
Lee have recreated that, haven't they?
Yeah, and I like it. 'Cause
Yeah,
it was a bit razzmatazz, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's a bit mental.
Shame they're not very good on the field, isn't it?
Actually, you're right. They're
No,
not
but
that bad
they
this year,
are pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they got some
They're
class
coming- they
players.
are coming together, aren't they?
They're a middle table team, I think. And Josh Charnley's playing really well. So, yeah, I'm going for Lee.
I'm going to go for Salford. Yeah.
I'll have Lee as well.
2-2, I'll go Salford.
Yes.
Ooh. Okay. Catalan Warrington, Saturday.
Another great rad derby.
Oh, huge.
Yeah.
I always feel sorry for Warrington on Derby Day because like no one wants to play with them.
Well, Widnes is their team, isn't it? But,
Yeah.
you know, Widnes are terrible at the minute. So,
Yeah, even we beat them.
who's going first?
It's top of the table clashes as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Warrington are on fire this year. I'll go Warrington.
Is that Catalan?
Warrington.
Is that going to sway you?
No.
No. Oh, I don't know who picked this one.
Yeah, I think this is the hardest one. I like Catalan, so I'm going to go me out. Yeah, Catalan.
I'm going to say Warrington, based on, I think, you know, as the old cliche, but winning's a habit. You know what I mean? And they're definitely in the groove right now. They're not going to want to give that up. Catalans have faltered a little bit, despite the fact they're at
They've
home.
lost
And,
one, aren't they, Catalan?
you know, they've lost one, but then, you know, there's been a couple of close calls as well. So I'm going to go Warrington.
Hey, McNamara. I'm going to go Catalan, just because I like McNamara. I didn't used to like McNamara.
I went through a phase of liking him, not liking him. No, I like him again. It's funny that. Isn't it?
But I'm back on board with him again. Now.
Fickle that way.
Last fixture of the week then is the Leeds Rhinos versus the Huddersfield Giants. Craig, you always go first on Leeds, so
Yeah, I'm going to say Leeds. I think Huddersfield, but I'm going to say Leeds. Because by fuck, they can't play any worse than they did last week.
Bloody 1 week they're great, and the next week they got awful again, aren't they?
Oh, they got kicked to death by LKR. Jordan Abdul just kicked them to death.
Yeah, they looked like they couldn't catch a ball to save their lives last week. I'm going Leeds.
Oh, nice one.
Just because we went to Headingley the other day and I were impressed by its stadium, and that's all I'm going on.
And that's all the more special because there's another couple of Bulls fans here as well, and you've been showing off all night because you were your Bradford mates.
We're mates now.
Until round 6 of the Midlands League.
I'll go Winos as well.
Yeah.
You say winos?
Winos,
Winos.
yeah.
They do all wine, don't they?
Whining, yeah.
Winos. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to go Rhinos as well.
Oh, clean
There we go.
sweep then.
Yeah.
Huddersfield got no chance.
I think it says more about Huddersfield than Rhinos, actually.
Yeah. How are you forgetting the big rivalry? Halifax Bulls on Monday night.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have that in there. We don't have a championship section. He made me cut it out. 'Cause he says, I'm shit with Super League predictions. I'm definitely shit with championship predictions. So,
Even if you know Rugby League Championship's so hard to pick. Like.
It is. It is.
The way
Yeah.
Bulls played last week, Jesus Christ.
yeah.
Right, okay, so we've done our predictions. Thanks for that, lads. Really fun. We're on to our extra time golden point. Now, this is the first time you've heard this question, okay, so you don't really know what's coming. I can see the fear in your eyes. It was from James Husband from the Lincolnshire Lions, okay.
his show ain't gone out yet because we couldn't do that.
We've
As
just
a sort
got-
of live here. We had so much editing to do. That one's going out in a couple of weeks, but even so, he has asked the question. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically the way the golden point works is we get the guest this week to pose the question for next week's guest. From James Husband then, does the community game need a pathway to playing League One? And if so, how is this achieved?
Yes. No, I think it definitely does because I mean, obviously we come from our Leamington Royals, like we've got a Royals lens, but we've got talent. We've got young talent. You think we sent 2 lads, like 16-year-olds, to the I can't remember what it was called, but the under-18 England selection thing. This year we could send 5.
Yeah. We've got a lad, Aaron, who's been picked up by England Rugby League uni, isn't he?
Yeah, so he's playing for English students.
Yeah.
He was instrumental in their win against the North.
Yeah.
And I think the thing is, right, in growth in Rugby League, you need to show a pathway. It's easy in Rugby Union near us because...
Well, it was when Wasps and Worcester existed. It's probably less so now. But...
yeah, and I think, yeah. But, like, they could go from Harbury to Kenilworth to whoever and just climb up the ranks and just get...
you're right.
Think of Benny P.
So
right? He went to play for Cov Rugby and then... Which is what, I don't know what level it is, but it's
Championship.
Championship level. And he plays for us. And we don't have that in Midlands Rugby League. You get it in the North, you do, but that's because there's so many clubs. But in the Midlands, you don't. You go from us to our level to Hurricanes. And I think it needs something in between.
And do you think that's too big a gap?
I mean, yeah. I've not played League One in this country, but I've played like that level abroad, and it hurts. And the first probably 3-4 games, you just don't know what's going on because you're just getting hit so hard, and you're hitting so hard, and you're just exhausted. And I think for players to go from Midlands Prem to League One, where you're playing lads who've played all their lives, been on roids since they were about 12, and
Allegedly, and don't have too much sense up now up in that top 6 inches. Like it's just a different world. Whereas I think if you gave them a stepping stone, which was conference, even Conference South or something like that, just something halfway, which was just select. You could even be Midlands Hurricanes reserves or something
Academy
like that.
or something like that.
I mean, to be honest, I was a bit not disappointed. I love that Bears came to play in our league again. When they reformed and became Coventry Bears. I was really excited because it gave us a rivalry. But actually, what I'd have loved if they'd have said, right, we're not going to go back into Midlands Prem. We're going to create bonds with each, a relationship with each of the Midlands clubs, and they're going to come into the select team almost on a regional basis, and then they'd play in the Conference South or something like that. It's how it works in Australia. It's how it works in New Zealand. Like we had the Vulcans. I played Fox Prem, and then they had the Vulcans, which have actually just reformed last year, and that's exactly how it worked. And then they played in the New South Wales Cup, and basically you'd have Warriors above them, and their reserve team or players come back from injury would drop into the Vulcans, and then the Vulcans would pull up the best players from the Fox Prem, which we were playing in, which is like the top level in like New Zealand.
It's probably not dissimilar to what you guys were talking about in one of your first episodes, like the East versus the West, or whatever it was a couple of years ago. Well, probably more than a couple of years ago, but yeah.
So that's how I'd do it. Do we need a better pathway? Yeah. That's how I'd do it. And also, I'd get rid of Sky and just put it on BBC. Then sponsorship would be better.
Well, I mean, yeah, you'd think all the money that Sky kind of throws at it, I know it's getting less anyway, regardless. And then Channel 4. But I actually prefer the Channel 4 coverage, like, you know.
Didn't like Steve-O?
I love Steve-O. Steve-O's not there anymore, is he?
No,
you know, it's John Wilkin doing his shit banter. And you've got, fucking hell, here we go.
Do you know what? I used to like John Wilkin.
I did.
You don't like his podcast, do you?
No, but this, it's not that
big podcast bigwig over here. I don't like John.
It's not. I've never actually listened to his podcast, but I think when he was just like an ad hoc guest, I loved his like fresh banter and all that kind of stuff. Now he's like permanent feature and he's doing his own bits and all this kind of stuff. I just think it's too much, like, you know what I mean, and so I don't
It's not
really
the same
like
as
it.
Eddie and Steve.
I bet you're one of those gave his cafe a bad rating, didn't you?
Yeah, his sandwich shop. Do
you know what?
The boys are shit.
So my like uni team, we have all boys every year, and it's a big massive event. It's like 100 odd rugby league all boys go back to Lancaster for 1 weekend a year, and we all forget we're adults, professionals and jobs and families and stuff. We all forget that. But every year we have a different ex-professional. We've had Kevin Sinfield, we've had Robert Paul, we've had Scully, we've had all of them. One year we were struggling, so I messaged what's his name, John Wilkin, on LinkedIn, and he came straight back and was like, "Oh yeah, I'd love to be involved." And you know what? I met him, and he was just a genuinely nice guy.
Yeah, Craig, fucking slagging him off.
No, and I'm sure I don't know what's slagging him off.
But he's decisive, though, isn't he?
Yeah, no, yeah, he is.
He goes back to you. He's got an opinion.
But that's good, I think, because there's too many boring farts on TV who don't give an opinion.
Yeah, tread the line.
Yeah. Well,
but also, rugby league fans do love to complain, don't they?
Oh,
Oh,
God.
yeah. Oh, yeah. We're
Yeah.
ace at complete.
But we was chatting to Brian Noble and said, Brian, you know, what positives have we got in the game? And he went, well, I don't think there's many. You know, he slaved at the game. He said, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. I was like, no positives, Brian, positives. You couldn't say it. Yeah. Toby, anything to add to that golden point question?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think Pete's sort of covered most of the bases, really. He's the man
for hours about this.
He's the man with the master plan. He's got a whole idea for Bradford sport, this lad.
Man.
Sorry, I've got him going now.
Right. Bradford Sport, right.
This is a Midlands-based podcast.
No, I can't tell him. You've got to cut this out.
We're going to have to extend M62 again.
I don't want anyone stealing my idea.
Well, what's the idea with the Leamington sport as well? I don't know if that's official yet.
No, it could be a thing, though, can't it?
Like Royals, Rugby
Well, it kind of is,
Lem
isn't it?
netball,
Yeah.
Like coming under the same
But,
banner almost.
Yeah, but the idea is, like, you know, like Bristol did, they basically went, well,
They've
none
got
of all of our...
the same guy owns Bristol City, Bristol Rugby, and basketball, and like maybe ice hockey as well, something like that.
But all
It's
under the same name.
Bristol's,
Yeah,
it's
under
like
Bristol
Sport.
Sport as an umbrella, but then they shared resources, so it meant your backroom staff get reutilised more than once.
Physios.
Yeah, physios, gyms, training
Analysts,
facilities.
all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, anything that... I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of what I do.
No, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Leeds Rhinos do it though, don't they?
Yeah, same thing.
That they
But it's more sustainable, right? He's turning it off now. I don't want us to talk about this.
Just restarting.
yeah, they've got the first team, they've got a PDRL, they've got the wheelchair
Netball.
team, they've got a netball
They use
team.
the uni really well as well.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Beckett paid for half that bloody stadium.
But
didn't
this is sustainable. Do you know what I mean? Like,
It is.
I mean, Leeds Rhinos never... No, whenever clubs got money troubles, it's never Leeds Rhinos, is it?
no.
And there's a reason, right? Because they're just set up, got better infrastructure. As much as I hate to say that.
they? And the council built the stadium.
Yeah, shit team though.
Yeah.
Well, a new stand anyway.
Yeah, but they're...
It's a lovely stand.
Yeah.
It's cracking, isn't it?
We were in it the other day.
We were sneaking about.
It's-
Basically, the message was, unofficially, was if it's not locked, help knock yourself out.
That's the most rugby league thing
And
I've
if it
heard.
is, if it is, find a way to open it.
Just don't get caught.
Yeah, it was like completely wrong end of wrong floor, wrong end, and it was like me and Carl were like, right, if anybody says, oh, we're looking for box freaking 11 or whatever it was completely wrong direction.
It was,
But,
it's dripping in money into that place.
yeah.
You
it's
got
quality.
Yorkshire cricket as well, haven't you? Like,
Yeah, Yorkshire
Yeah.
cricket. Yeah, the whole lot.
That's a great
And again, it's shared resources, isn't it? So
Yeah,
it's-
well, I mean, we actually had this conversation before, didn't we? A
Yeah.
similar kind of thing, and it was like, you know, we said we think where it went wrong at Hodson was like Bradford City should have come.
Or BPA.
want
even.
me.
Were you no, it was
Want with me that.
maybe your stepdad said. He said where it went wrong is Bradford City when they had the fire they should have relocated to Hodson.
there's a reason we hate Huddersfield Town, right? Let's not get into this.
Okay, great. Right, we're going to do our little look forward. So events coming up. We've got an interview with Birmingham next week, so they can reply to some of the sledging that's gone on in this episode. And look forward to that.
You're going to have a target on your back.
I'm injured. Sorry.
That's why I can't play this year because
You've got two of it. There's been no one from Wakey, mate. You'll be all right. Wheelchair Rugby League is coming to the Midlands. 15th of April, I think it is.
All the,
Six ways.
all the Super League teams are playing. So you got James Simpson's Leeds Rhinos are taking on Tom Coyd's London Roosters, and then the other teams are there. Is it Halifax, Hull, Warrington, and I've missed one, but yeah, all the 6 Super League teams are going to be there.
And the first match kicks off at 12 o'clock.
Yep.
That's it.
Where is it in Birmingham?
Birmingham Uni.
Is it?
Yeah. Should be good. I don't know how much tickets are that haven't been announced yet. I've been
£6
looking
a
for
Everything's £6. Okay, and then from us, you know, we just had a great weekend where we was at Hodson watching the Bradford game, filmed a lot of behind the scenes, like we was in the change rooms of the Hurricanes, you know, and we filmed all that. It was absolutely class. It was better than the most Bradford nightclubs in that change rooms in the you know, preparing for the match. It was freaking incredible. That's going to be coming out soon on the YouTube channel, so make sure you subscribe. We've also got interviews with Brian Noble, Jordan Nilly. Who else do we get? David Foggin Johnson.
Steady from the Hurricanes.
Yeah, load of interviews which are really, really good and really insightful. And then the following day, we spoke to James Simpson and
Martin Gill
from
from Edinburgh.
from Wheelchair Rugby League. Now, we really, there's loads of interviews about wheelchair rugby league, and there's loads of interviews about James Simpson losing his legs and all that. We wanted to know the intricacies of the sport, so we really went deep into wheelchair rugby league, and there's some really, really interesting stuff that comes out. So watch out for that, and it'll be dropping in the next couple of weeks. Lads, anything we should have asked you that we didn't?
Well, I was just thinking, how have you gone from the highs of those interviews to those of it?
I was trying to shit for 2 hours.
About vegans and John Wilkins. Yeah.
Almost.
Same thing.
Yeah, sorry to bring you back to earth.
Yeah.
The big one that your miss has been very excited about, actually. Hasn't she? She's been very excited about this. But we always, amongst the club, obviously MND is massive in the rugby league community sadly. But it's good how everyone's rallied around. And we've all done, within the club, we've all done a few kind of individual bits, haven't we, in the past? Ultras and charity rugby games and stuff. And
there's some fundraising last year, and we're meant to be doing more this year.
Yeah. But the great idea that some of the slightly trimmer boys came up with was that we should do a charity calendar shoot this year for MND. So that's kind of the big announcement for us.
So a full nude calendar.
Full nude.
Is it going to be full on or flower pots in the
creatively
rugby balls in the
yeah.
And have you got a photographer on board to kind of do all that, or is it going to be iPhone?
need a trusted source, don't we?
Yeah, we actually have a good photographer, don't we? Tim Noonan. We should give him a shout out.
Yeah.
Tim Noonan. We'll give Tim Noonan a shout
out.
as well. He just takes all the photos.
He does loads of clubs in the Midlands. His stuff's brilliant.
He's famous in round near us.
Yeah.
But he'll come do it.
It's going to be men's and women's, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if they've opted in yet, but it's announced now, so they're going to have to
do it. Well, listen, when you get it printed, you get it released. You come on and share it with us, and we'll give it a plug. Yeah, brilliant. Well, thanks for coming along. I will be keeping an eye on two things. Leamington socials. It really is a benchmark. So good effort. For the pair of you for cracking on with that. You really are a bit of a shining light for the rest of the clubs in the Midlands. So thanks. For doing that, and also how you go this season. And I think you're really realistic with your goals, and it'd be good to sort of see you working through the season. So good luck with that.
Yeah, we'll have to have you down for a game. It's £5 entry. Don't we?
£5.
Well,
yeah, it's cheaper that now.
To be honest, I'm looking forward to the Battle of the West Midlands, the big Battle of the West Midlands. Pete v Karl, Leamington v Telford.
I'm going to be dropped for the second team anyway. So
cheers, guys, for coming on. It's been a right laugh, as I knew it would be, to be honest with you. Yeah. So cheers for travelling over and making the effort. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us. It's been good fun.
Yeah, it's great fun.
Okay, until the next episode, take care. That's the final whistle for this week's episode of the Rugby League Outsiders. We hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to follow us on social media and share this podcast with your friends. And as always, if you have a story to tell, a club to plug, or a player that deserves recognition, we want to hear from you. So until next time on the Rugby League Outsiders, take care.